I message in the group that please join on time. And a very beautiful lesson I learned with just one line, the meaning of on time. Somebody said to me, you can never be on time. You can never be on time. You can be either before time or you can be after time. And choice is yours. So when you are little before time, you're far more comfortable. You know everything right from the beginning, whatever we have discussed. Even if you're 5 minutes late for your class, and if the class has begun, one, you don't know what was discussed. A lot of time teachers make some announcements. A lot of time they give overview of what we're going to discuss today. They may also ask you if there's any question that you want to ask or clarify. So it's something like, you enter a theater 5 or 10 minutes after the movie has begun. So how do you feel? How do you feel if you have missed the beginning? You will always...
almost like I have missed the movie.
Exactly. And then you'll be nudging the person sitting next to you. क्या हुआ? पहले क्या हुआ था? ये ऐसे क्यों कह रहा है? इसने ऐसे क्या करा है? इसको क्यों पकड़ के लेके जा रहे हैं? Because you didn't see the beginning of. And a lot of movies will have actual message either in the beginning or in the end, and in between it is just masala. So one, a message that I want to give you is try to be always, little before time. That shows you being responsible, you being careful about timing, your time management, your organization. So everything gets, slowly get displayed in different ways. So this is one thing I have learned. I used to be always, struggling with time, which must be with you also. But slowly, if you learn to be, before time and calculate your starting time for anything. For example, if you have to be in the class, say 9 o'clock in the morning, so it's not 9 o'clock. That means 8:45 you should plan that you should be there. So 8:45 से पहले मुझे क्या-क्या करना है? नहाना है, तैयार होना है, नाश्ता करना है. Because अभी आप लोग, I'm sure you will have your breakfast, or maybe some of you are already missing your breakfast. How many of you miss your breakfast because of being late? Raise your hand. Nobody? Somebody has it. Some of you have raised, yeah. Never miss your breakfast. Today, maybe you are still going to the college. You can come back in between. Tomorrow, when you'll be working with patients, and your morning hours are going to be very, very exhaustive. Maybe till afternoon 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, you will not even have time to lift your head and do anything. And you will not get time to go and eat anything in between to the cafeteria or anywhere else. So it's always good to have your breakfast in the morning. But then you need to have time for the breakfast. So time management is a very important tool, which we all must, practice very meticulously. And once you will start implementing it, you will find yourself in control of a lot of things. So that was just one thought I had. And second was, since Zoom has become the way of connecting, and it's not just about your classes, tomorrow you will be participating in a lot of online programs happening across the world. A lot of programs are being offered free of cost, without any charges. Even Harvard is offering a lot of programs. So being on Zoom is going to be a very regular thing. Get ready to use Zoom in a very professional way. So what should be your background? From where the light should be coming? Where should I be sitting? Can I sit in a place or a corner where there's nobody walking behind me? Although it's all right, I completely understand you are at home and you can't have everything, perfect to your requirement. But if if you're mindful, you will prepare it. And also, it's very important to see how you're looking. So if you get into Zoom without actually joining the link that is shared with you. Like, for example, you normally click the Zoom link, and then you have your camera on, and then you set, am I looking all right? Is my back looking okay? Is everything okay? Do this not by joining the link, but if you have Zoom downloaded, you can actually start a meeting yourself. So go to that, have Zoom meeting on where you are the only one and there's nobody who can observe you. And now you can see yourself, where you are, how you are looking. Am I presentable? Is my background okay? Is light coming on my face? I hope there's no light coming from my back that could, cause glare and I would look dark or I will not be visible. So these are all small things we never needed 2 years ago, because I hadn't used Zoom myself. But now I'm using it on regular basis. So I feel that we all must know. And also, let me remind you, there was a time when your success was decided by your IQ. If I talk about 20, 30 years ago, if you had good academic, results all through your school and college time, it was assumed that you have an excellent IQ. So for sure, you are going to be successful in life. After a while, a lot of studies told us not all people with high IQ are successful in life. If you remember the study that I shared with you from Harvard, they thought that people who were academically excellent would be successful, equally successful. But they found out, no, it was not IQ, it was EQ also, but that mattered. So your emotional quotient. How do you regulate your own emotions? How do you express your emotions? How do you relate with others? How considerate you are of others? How kind, compassionate you are towards your family, towards your teachers, towards your friends. But lately, the third quotient that is considered equally important for your success is AQ. Any idea what is AQ? Any guess? Even if it is wrong, it's all right. Make a guess. What is AQ? It's okay if you don't know. I know it's something I don't expect you to be, knowing unless you're really. AQ is your agility quotient. And agility quotient is your flexibility. How agile you are. Trust me, if you can look after all three things. See, IQ we are born with. We can't do much to change the IQ. But EQ and AQ can be learned, can be excelled. And trust me, your success greatly depends on these two things. Your IQ is already proved. I don't doubt that. But please work on your EQ and your AQ. More flexible you are, more agile you are, more ready to mend yourself. You'll find yourself growing like anything in life. Okay, so before we move further, any questions from the last session, yesterday's session? Any afterthought?
Ma'am,
No?
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
What is the problem if we have a better means a bigger part of personality as a private self than public self?
Very good question. I should have covered it yesterday, Sanjeev. Maybe towards the end, I thought, because I missed that. Thank you for asking that question. So, if I may ask all of you, if a person has a higher or a bigger private self, what kind of a person that person can be? Can you guess?
Ma'am, full of mysteries.
Oh, yes, full of mysteries. Okay, that is one thing. And what about that person's interaction level?
Most of the time, it will be misunderstood.
Most of the times,
We will misunderstood him.
he will be misunderstood. Absolutely. If you're keeping a lot of things to yourself, like somebody comes to you and says, is everything okay? And then you don't say anything. Or you have certain problems and you are not sharing with your friends or family. So that means you are burdening yourself. There's a lot of burden on your shoulders, on your mind. One, people might misunderstand you as arrogant, as rude, as non-communicative, as mysterious. Plus, you are burdening yourself because you are not sharing. By sharing, we become lighter. By sharing, we feel. So, for example, if you say, oh, I had a fight with my sister or my brother, and then your classmate says, or your good friend says, even I have a problem with my brother. We are same age and we fight over small issues, something like even like which TV program are we going to watch, and we have big fights. And suddenly you feel okay. That means it's normal. It's okay. There's nothing to feel bad about it. Or if one of you says, my mom and me, we just don't agree on anything. She says something and I say something and it doesn't work. And then your friend says, I have same challenge at home. The moment I tell her I want to do it this way, she'll have 10 objections to give me. And then you say, okay, that means it's normal to have conflict with parents. I'm not saying it's okay, but I'm just trying to give you an example. The moment you get to know that somebody else is also having this same situation, how do you feel? How do you feel?
Ma'am, it feels secure and comforting.
One realization that, okay, I'm not alone into it. That there are others who are also sailing through the same situation. And then, of course, when you discuss, you find ways to deal with it. So people with larger private, self, one, they will not connect with people. They will hesitate. They may fear. They may also not share even things that can be comfortably shared. And
Yes.
as a result, their growth also gets affected. Because if you are not sharing, nobody will share with you.
Yes.
If you're not sharing, nobody will care for you. So if you don't tell people that I'm going for a movie, and when they will go for a movie, they'll not ask you.
Yes, ma'am.
Isn't it? If you're going to have fun time and you're not sharing with them, they'll also not let you know that when they have their fun time, they will exclude you. Rather, they may even have WhatsApp group, where you will not be part of it.
Yes, ma'am.
Happens?
Yes, ma'am, it happens.
And it actually, affects your overall mental health. Because our growth only happens when we are interacting with people. You cannot grow in isolation. You can never grow in isolation. It has to be only through interaction with people around us.
Ma'am, can interaction draw someone back also instead of growing him?
Only if you are spending time with mindlessly, that's one thing. With whom you are interacting. See, you are known by the kind of friends you have around you. If you have right people in your life, if you have right mentors in your life, obviously you are going to grow. But if you have a company who is kind of not helpful for your personal and professional growth, definitely it can be harmful. Definitely it can be harmful. Of course, your friends have to be chosen carefully. Your companions have to be chosen carefully, because that's how you kind of start thinking. Thank you,
But
Sandeep.
ma'am, everyone has something good in them. Then how can we just keep ourselves different from others, saying they are
Sandeep,
not of my type?
everyone has something good, but then when you're here in a college, you are here for a purpose.
Yes, ma'am.
So in case that purpose is not being fulfilled by spending time with the person, so that's a very clear parameter. For example, there's a friend who is busy, in other things and also wants you to get distracted. and that takes you away from the purpose. It's a clear this thing. However good that friend is, you cannot afford to spend time beyond a limit. Maybe
Yes.
half an hour fun time is okay per day, because everybody should have, relaxed time of fun and activity. But if a friend says, let's watch Netflix every day 3 hours, how many ever good points he or she may have, sorry, I'm not here for that. So that's how you have to keep checking, am I going in the right direction? Like when you're going to a new place, you take a road, but you don't blindly drive. After
Yes,
every few kilometers, you will ask, am I going right? Sir, मैं रोहतक जा रहा हूँ, ये road रोहतक जाती है ना?
yes, sir.
So that's how you will have to check with yourself and, make sure that you don't get lost in the way.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Sanjeev. A lot of questions. Thank you. Good beginning. Okay. So any other question or feedback or afterthought from the last class? Okay, that's fine. So I had sent a questionnaire to all of you, asking you to do that questionnaire, and you have some set of scores with you. I think 4 scores you will have. So if I may ask you to put your scores in the chat box with a comma in between, all 4 scores in a row in the chat box. Saurav, I am sorry, I could not understand your message. I am not. Saurav, are you there? Okay, it's okay. Fine. So everybody done? I can see only few scores. What about others? Okay. So we all have a pattern of handling situations and people around us. It could be a day-to-day communication, or it could be everyday situations that you face where you have to say no, or you have to express your opinion, or you have to say that you don't agree, or if you have any different thought, we have to express that I'm not agreeing with you, this is what I think about it. But all of us handle these situations in a very typical manner. So the 4 broad categories that we normally use to communicate. One is when we don't agree with the group or with the person, we become quiet. We don't say that I don't agree, but we don't, express our opinion. For example, there is disagreement with somebody, and I agree with that person, and we don't like the opinion of the person, but we will not have the discussion further, or we will not take it further, but we will just withdraw from that situation or keep quiet. And that style of communication is called passive communication. That style of communication is called passive communication. So if one is using this style of communication, for example, in classroom, for example, teacher is asking you something and you're not understanding, or you're not getting the point, or you're not even agreeing, but you just don't speak up. If I may ask you, if the person is using this style of communication, how is this helpful or unhelpful to that person? Write in the chat box. If a person is taking a passive stand in most of the situations, how is that helpful or unhelpful for that person? Yes, Saurabh, I agree, it's unhelpful. Yes, it's unhelpful. How is it unhelpful? How will that impact him or her? Yes, it will not clear his or her doubts. Yes, Sanjeev, I agree. So for example, I'm taking a session here with all of you. Some of you may not be understanding exactly what I'm saying, but then you don't clarify. You don't speak up. You don't ask questions. You don't participate, but you're listening. You're there, but you're listening. So how is that going to be unhelpful for you as a person? So Sparsh says, not helpful as his thoughts are left behind, which can cause anger for the group member. Yes, if you're not speaking, if you're not sharing your thoughts voluntarily, then definitely you may have anger against people, but you'll have more anger on yourself. Suppose if I am burdening you with some responsibility, I'm giving you some task which is actually not doable, but I'm just giving you a very strict order, you have to do it, and you don't speak up. How will you feel? You can unmute and speak if you want. One of you can answer. Will you be happy? Will you be happy if I burden you with something that's actually not doable? You will not be happy. Say, yes, I will not be happy. It's all right. And then you will carry that anger within you. You are going to be dissatisfied. So if I'm taking a passive stand in a situation, once in a while, it's all right. But if that's my way of dealing with people, dealing with situations, dealing with life, then I will not have any say. People will take me for granted. Yes, Saurav, environment will be against his growth. But then whose fault it is? It's my fault if I'm not speaking up, if I'm not taking a stand, if I'm not saying anything, then it's my fault. Once in a while, it's all right. There are situations where we need to be quiet. There are situations where it's better not to say anything and just keep quiet. But if that's the way I'm dealing with people and society, how will people know what I'm thinking or what I'm feeling or what I'm wanting? So your needs, your desires, your rights, everything will get violated if you take a passive stand. So your second scores are your passive communication style scores. So in front of the second scores, please write passive communication style score. You can write down in your notebook because that's going to give you an understanding of your primary way of handling situations. Yes, Soumya, I agree with you. You have written, keeping things to oneself can hamper mental health and also create communication gaps. Absolutely, I think you're spot on. This is what I wanted to say. Now, most of the times when we don't actually speak in the moment or we don't express ourselves, do we go back happy and satisfied and quiet? No.
No, ma'am.
We carry that grudge with us. So वहां तो नहीं बोला, बाहर आते ही देखो कैसे बोल दिया इन्होंने, पूछते ही नहीं है, बताते ही नहीं है. क्लास में अगर कोई हम discussion कर रहे हैं and we have to distribute work, like everybody has to come forward and take some responsibility, वहां हम नहीं बोल रहे, वहां हम कोई जिम्मेदारी नहीं ले रहे, कोई कुछ नहीं बोल रहे, but afterwards we talk ill about people who were actually leading the group work happens. सब कुछ खुद कर लेते हैं, किसी को इन्वॉल्व नहीं करते, हमें पूछते नहीं है, हमें बताते नहीं है. Then we chose to not to speak in that moment. Most of us use this way of handling situations. Somebody's device is on. Can I request you to mute your device? Thank you. And that style of communication is called passive-aggressive communication style. Again, a lot of you will not speak in the class, but when it comes to talking about it, maybe at the end, you will talk something that's not very pleasant. Whereas if you had raised your concern in the class, that could have been addressed. Even when you are a group member, like for example, with your batchmates, there will be discussion about things, but you will not speak when it is the right moment to speak and express your thoughts. But later on, you will talk ill about others. And that style of communication is called passive-aggressive communication style. So your third scores are your passive-aggressive communication style scores. So you can write in front of that. Some of us very easily become aggressive. We suddenly become loud. We start fighting. We start arguing. We answer back. We use foul language. We can become aggressive. And that's called aggressive communication style. So classroom and college comes later. If you try to imagine yourself at home, a lot of time when somebody's like family members are discussing something and you decide to just be quiet and not say anything, that's your passive style of handling situation. Some of you will not say anything. For example, you're talking to your parents, maybe out of respect or fear or hesitation. You will not express, but later on with your mom, you'll say, Dad said this, he shouldn't have said this, he should not have said this is not the way to talk to me. I mean, all those things. That's passive aggressive. Many of you may be already arguing with your parents, fighting over issues, replying back, becoming loud. And that's your aggressive communication style. So your fourth scores are your aggressive communication style scores. Now, in case if you are using passive aggressive communication style, where you don't speak when it is the right moment to share your thoughts or say what you want to say in the right manner, what is the disadvantage? How is it unhelpful? Imagine your home environment, and also now since you are in college with your friends and with your other, seniors and others. So if that situation happens and you use passive aggressive style, how is that unhelpful?
Ma'am, it stops our learning.
Can you give an example or what exactly you mean? Of course, definitely it will hamper your growth and your, learning, definitely. What else besides this? What do others say? रामदयाल, क्या कहते हो आप? अगर कोई पैसिव एग्रेसिव स्टाइल यूज कर रहा है ऑन रेगुलर बेसिस, देखो हम चारों स्टाइल्स को यूज करते हैं, देयर इज नथिंग रॉन्ग, बट इफ दैट्स माय प्राइमरी वे ऑफ हैंडलिंग सिचुएशन, you will find people around you who will not speak up, who will not say clearly what they think or what they want, but you will always see them talking at the back of the person. वो किसी के भी बारे में पीठ पीछे बात करेंगे. तो क्या disadvantage है if you are using that style of communication on regular basis with most of the people, and in most of the situation.
जी मैम, इसमें सबसे बड़ा डिसएडवांटेज ये है कि हम किसी के ऊपर भरोसा नहीं कर सकते।
Yes,
भरोसा उठ जाता है ये तो
absolutely.
कोई भी बात को उसे बताने से डर लगता है।
बहुत बढ़िया, आई थिंक बहुत आपने बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट रेज करा रामदेव। अगर हम लोग पैसिव एग्रेसिव स्टाइल से लोगों के साथ कम्युनिकेट करते हैं, बहुत जल्दी हम आइडेंटिफाई हो जाते हैं ग्रुप में कि ये जो हमारा क्लासमेट है, ये लड़की है, ये लड़का, ये मुंह पे तो कुछ नहीं बोलेगा, ये पीठ पीछे जाके 10 लोगों को मेरे बारे में बोलने वाला है। सो यू विल लूज ट्रस्ट, people will not trust you, people will not include you, people will not like your company because they are scared that you can use the information that you say to them, and they'll go and speak, outside against you. So anybody who's using passive aggressive as a way of handling situation, it's not helpful. One, the work will not happen, you as a person will not grow, nobody will trust you, nobody will like your company, nobody will like to be your good friend, and plus when you will need help, nobody will be available for you. So that's why, again, this is not a very helpful style. How about using aggressive communication style? What do you say? If somebody is using aggressive communication style as a regular way of dealing situation, क्या होगा?
Ma'am, it is helpful in that we are expressing our opinion clearly to the person.
Mm-hmm.
So in this way, they will understand what I think about the issue.
संजीव, अगर हम एग्रेसिव स्टाइल यूज कर रहे हैं,
Yes, ma'am.
क्या सामने वाला मेरी बात सुनना चाहेगा, मेरे साथ कनेक्ट होना चाहेगा? पहली बात ये। सपोज एज अ टीचर, आई एम एग्रेसिव, आई एम रूड, आई एम इंसल्टफुल, आई एम हर्टफुल टू यू, विल यू लाइक मी एज अ टीचर?
No, ma'am, but later on, when I will feel the point that you were right, then surely I will like you if the case is.
But in that moment, सपोज जैसे अभी आप कुछ बोल रहे हो और मैं आपका एकदम से एग्रेसिवली बोल दूं, संजीव आप क्या बात कर रहे हो, डोंट यू नो हाउ टू स्पीक इन द क्लास?
Yes, ma'am.
इसके बाद आप बोलोगे?
No, ma'am.
इसके बाद आपका दिल करेगा मेरे से बात करने का?
Yes,
इसके बाद
ma'am,
आप,
but if we are aggressive in a situation where it needs to be,
I'll tell you, जो आप कहना चाह रहे हो मैं उस पॉइंट पर अभी आती हूँ, बट लेट मी टेल यू,
yes, ma'am.
aggression is not a helpful way of dealing with people because nobody likes being it. अगर आप aggressive हो, for example, आपका चलो मैं अगर aggressively behave करती हूँ and suppose any one of you become aggressive, what will happen?
Ma'am, it will spoil our relations.
काम ही खराब हो जाएगा, क्लास ही नहीं चल पाएगी। मैं एग्रेसिव हो रही हूँ,
Yes,
आप में से कोई एक एग्रेसिव हो गया, अभी यहाँ पे झगड़ा हो जाएगा आपका मेरा, और सब मतलब एवरीथिंग विल गेट हेवायर। सो एग्रेशन किसी टाइम पर ये मानते थे, जब हम अथॉरिटेरियन स्टाइल को मानते थे ना, तो टीचर्स, पेरेंट्स, इफ दे वर एग्रेसिव इट वाज ओके बिकॉज इट वाज ऑलरेडी दे हैड सो मच ऑफ रिस्पेक्ट फॉर टीचर्स एंड पेरेंट्स कि चिल्ड्रन ऑलवेज थॉट कि अगर मार भी रहे हैं, गुस्सा भी कर रहे हैं, डांट भी रहे हैं, तो भी हमारे भले के लिए। बट स्टडीज बताती हैं कि अगर आप एग्रेसिव स्टाइल यूज कर रहे हो और सामने वाला अगर आपका एग्रेशन हैंडल नहीं कर पा रहा, टॉलरेट नहीं कर पा रहा, वो डिप्रेशन में जा सकता है, वो अपसेट हो सकता है, उसकी पढ़ाई पर नुकसान हो सकता है, उसकी मेंटल हेल्थ पर नुकसान हो सकता है। क्यों कॉलेजेस में बुलिंग और रैगिंग के ऊपर इतना काम हो रहा है? बिकॉज इट्स कंसीडर्ड being aggressive with somebody who has just joined the college. और अगर एक बच्चा अपने घर से उठकर यहाँ आया है, आई बीइंग सीनियर, अगर मैं अपने जूनियर के साथ में उसको बुली कर रही हूँ या रैगिंग कर रही हूँ, वो बच्चे की मेंटल हेल्थ पर इफेक्ट आ सकता है। So being aggressive is not this the least helpful way, because इसमें आप सिर्फ अपना नुकसान नहीं कर रहे, आप सामने वाले को डायरेक्टली हार्म कर रहे हो। So that's one style we have to completely get out of.
Yes, ma'am.
और the question is कि अगर अपनी बात को कहेंगे नहीं ढंग से तो बात कैसे आगे बढ़ेगी? आप ये कहना चाह रहे हो ना संजीव?
Yes, ma'am.
That style is called assertion. That style is called assertion. For example, if you don't agree with somebody, you speak up. But 5 चीजें जो याद रखनी है, जो मैं बोल रहा हूं या मैं बोल रही हूं, it should be honest opinion, it should be an open opinion, it should be a positive way of saying in a confident manner and respectful manner.
Yes, ma'am.
अगर आप किसी चीज से एग्री नहीं कर रहे, it's okay. If you're not agreeing, you have right to disagree. But how do you express that disagreement? For example, घर पे मम्मी या पापा ने कोई बात बोली जो आपको hurtful लगी, आपको लगा कि उन्होंने गलत बोला.
Yes, ma'am.
Always you become quiet. It's okay. जो बोल दिया. ठीक है. Second is आप अंदर ही अंदर sulk कर रहे हो, crib कर रहे हो, रो रहे हो, खाना नहीं खा रहे हो, दुखी हो रहे हो, लेकिन बोल नहीं रहे हो.
Yes, ma'am.
तीसरा है आप अपने फादर के साथ लड़ पड़े या आपने बहस करी. और चौथा तरीका है कि आपने उनको कहा कि आपने जो ये बात मुझे बोली, मुझे ये बुरी लगी क्योंकि ये बात सच नहीं है. ये बात जो आपने कही है मुझे ठीक नहीं लग रही है. Out of these 4 ways, which one do you think is more helpful?
Ma'am, fourth one.
Fourth one. And that communication is called assertive communication. And your first scores are your assertive communication style scores. तो अपने उसके स्कोर के सामने लिख लीजिए. So I'm not going to discuss some of your scores to help you understand what is appropriate and what you need to work on. So for example, अगर मैं example ले रही हूँ, सौम्या आपका example ले रही हूँ, सौम्या चौधरी. So your scores are 17, 14, 12, 12. So your primary way of handling a situation is assertion. तो अगर आप अपने scores देखोगे, almost for all of you, your highest scores are assertion. पर इसमें भी एक twist है. Twist ये है, the moment you will be in difficult situation, you are likely to move on to the second highest score style. अगर पहला style काम नहीं करेगा, then there is a possibility that you will move on to the second style. So for example, in your case, Soumya, you will be using assertion, although there is still a scope to improve. 17 here, 20 highest there, but that's just indicative, not like final score. But in case if that does not work, you are likely to move on to passive communication style score, because your second highest is passive communication style. If I may take Yasa's scores, Yasa, in your case, your highest score is 15, which is assertion, but very close is your aggressive communication style score. So in your case, if assertion does not work, you're likely to use aggression. Do you agree with your scores, Yasa? Yasa, are you there? Are you there, Yasa, with us? Yes, you are there. Yeah. Yasa, do you agree with your scores? I think, oh, you have not connected, I think, because I can't hear you, or maybe you have some challenge with your device. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, come again, Yasa. Please unmute and speak. Sorry, I'm not able to hear you. There's some challenge at your end. That's another thing. You should have, a proper way to communicate. अगर आप headphone use कर रहे हैं या नहीं use कर रहे हैं, but you should be able to speak clearly. Okay, so I can see a message here, maybe, yeah. So Yasa is saying yes, she's agreeing. So this should give you
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, I think this is,
Am I audible?
Yeah, so there is some network issue, I think, at your end. It's okay. It's okay. You can just listen. See, Yasa, for you, my message will be, you are likely to use aggression. Now, for example, if you're alternatively using aggression in your, relationship at home or with your batchmates, with your seniors, with your faculty. Now you can see yourself, there's a risk that you can move on to aggression very quickly. Not a very helpful style. Try to assert more and stick to assertion so that you can actually reduce your aggression scores. Mohit, your scores are also very interesting. Mohit, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So your scores: assertion 20, passive aggressive style 20, and aggressive style 20. That means you are using all these three styles alternatively, depending upon the situation, depending upon the kind of person you are dealing with. Again, having assertion as highest scores is good, but then passive aggressive and aggressive scores are also very high. Do you agree with your scores? Mohit, do you agree with your scores?
Yes.
Again, I think you need to work on your communication style, your expression. Assertion is good, but then passive aggressive and aggressive style is unhelpful. That would affect your performance in the class or with your friends and even at home in your personal relationship also. So anybody who wants his or her scores to be discussed, raise your hand. I can take one or two more examples to help you. Nobody wants? Okay, Sparsh. So Sparsh, where are your scores? Give me 1 second to see. Yeah. So Sparsh, in your case, it's good. It's quite healthy, I would say. So your assertion scores are 80, whereas your passive score is 6. So that means you don't use passive communication. But then if you will move from assertion, you're more likely to move to aggression. So if you can work on yourself and see if you can use aggression less often, then Saurabh, your scores, I'm not sure if this is what exactly is your score. So your scores are 11, 13, 20, and 14. So your passive aggressive communication style scores are very high, which is 20. So that means your primary way of handling situation is passive aggressive, not helpful. Tomorrow when you will interact with your patients, because that's the ultimate, your real life encounters. So if you're not able to assert, then chances are you will become passive aggressive with your patients, and then aggressive also. Not a desirable thing. So these 5 years are like your playground. Learn, excel on these skills, work on yourself. And all these things are mendable, not that these are your final scores and they're going to be, there forever. There are 4 stages of learning. The first stage is unconscious incompetence. Till now, we did not know that there is a way of communicating and I have a specific way. So that first stage is called unconscious incompetence. I didn't know that there's something like this. You took this test, you got to know about your scores, and you got to know, oh, my way of handling difficult situation is not very mature, not very healthy, not very helpful. That's called conscious incompetence. You became aware of your weak areas. You became aware that these are the areas I need to work on. You have a lot of time at hand. Work on yourself, improve yourself. It could be your language, it could be grammar, it could be confidence, it could be subject knowledge, it could be personal grooming that we are going to talk today after this. It could be anything. But that will require mindfully working on that. Automatically, things will not change. Automatically, nothing happens. It's when you make a dedicated effort to change yourself. And that is third stage of learning, and that is called conscious competence. When you will put in efforts to change yourself, to make yourself a better person, a better human being. And that's third stage of, which is most difficult. But the good news is, even this much of effort is going to make a change. Has anybody read this book called Atomic Habits by James Clear? Anybody? No. I think at your age, you can afford to read. Oh, Soumya raised her hand. Soumya, have you read it? Oh, that's so good. I'm glad to know that one of you have read it. So if you get a chance to read it, it's a beautiful book, very, very, very nice book. At least at your age, you'll find it very enlightening. But the message from this book that I can share with you quickly is, James Clear says, if you work on yourself and just change 1% every day, 1%, is it big? Is it big? Is it possible?
Yes, ma'am, it's possible.
It's possible. 1%, just 1% every day. At the end of the year, you will be a 37% improved version of yourself. Just 1%. It could be your language, it could be your communication, it could be your dressing, it could be your behavior, it could be your interaction with people, it could be your study habits, it could be your time management, it could be your organization, anything. Just 1% every day. Keep in mind, I want to just improve 1% every day. By the end of 1 year, you will be 37% improved version of yourself. And imagine in 5 years, yourself.
Ma'am, why 37%?
That's the calculation they have done.
Ma'am, it's a research.
Yes, it's a research, and also there's a formula James Clear has shared. Read that book. You'll find it interesting.
Okay.
And a beautiful example he gave that I really got very fascinated reading is, he said when the pilot puts the plane on flight, we all know that
Yes,
they give a direction and degree to what the flight has to kind of move in. He said, even if you change, if the pilot changes the direction just by 1 degree. So if he's coming from Kanyakumari to Jammu, so instead of coming to Jammu, the flight will actually either end up into Gujarat or in Assam, just with the change of 1 degree. That's the importance of what you are doing and whichever direction you are going to, good or bad, that's your choice. But if you connect the dots, you will know after a period of time where you will be. So today, if you are working on yourself, you are studying, you are doing you are focused, you are clear that you are here for 5 years and this is what is you want to achieve, it's very different. And if you spend your time mindlessly, if you think it's okay, whatever I'm doing, it's fine, I'm after all there in AIIMS Jammu and I'm sure I'll get my degree, but then that will not decide your success and happiness and contentment.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So I want to share a presentation with you on the same,
Ma'am, I have a doubt. Can I
Yes,
ask?
sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
Ma'am, is it like that the man with as a aggressive type of communication style is dominant in the society?
Obviously, see, if I'm using aggression, why am I using aggression? When do we use
Ma'am,
aggression?
to dominate.
To dominate. So we think dominance is okay, but dominance is unhelpful. Momentarily, it might help, but it does not build long-term relationship. It does not build relationship of trust and faith. For example, Sanjeev, you are interacting with your patients
Yes,
and
ma'am.
you are aggressive in approach. You are explaining, okay, patient has not followed the instructions and patient has come back, and you're shouting at your patient. You don't take your medicines properly, you don't follow the treatment regime, and then you come back with all these complications. Do you think your patient will be happy with you?
No, ma'am. He won't ever return back to me.
He will not return back. In government setup, the patient might still come back because the patient cannot go anywhere. So patient wants free treatment. So the patient will come back to you. But tomorrow, if you are in your private practice, this patient will never come back to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Although your intention was right, you were saying all that to help your patient, that the patient should follow the instructions carefully, take medicines, make lifestyle changes. But your
Yes, ma'am.
way of communication was aggressive, was hurtful, insultful.
Yes, ma'am.
And today, nobody is ready to take that. There was a time patients were okay with it. But today, that's the main reason why patients become aggressive with us, because they're unhappy with the way we talk to them.
Yes, ma'am.
So aggression in no case is helpful. If you're feeling aggressive, please hold up, stop yourself and think, what is the other way to deal with that situation? If it's an argument between two good friends and you are aggressive, you will lose your friend. See, a lot of help you can get from your seniors. No?
Yes, ma'am.
If you're aggressive with them, they'll always find fault with you. They'll bully you. They will not help you. And tomorrow you're going to be with them in the clinical posting. A lot of your learning would happen there with your seniors, with your faculty.
Yes, ma'am.
That's why being aggressive is not a helpful, way. Okay. So I hope that answers your question, Sanjeev.
Yes, ma'am. It answers.
Sure.
Thank you.
So I'm going to show you a small presentation on the, communication styles that we all, adopt. Although most of it we have discussed, but I just want to make sure that we have not missed on any point. Yeah. So are you able to see these slides? It's still loading. Give me a second. Yeah. Are you able to see?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. So a lot of us handle disagreement in this manner. We have discussed this, that we become quiet, we don't say anything, but then we are sad because we haven't been able to express ourselves in an honest manner. So people who use passive communication as a way of handling situation, you will actually see that they will forfeit their rights, to please others or to avoid conflict. As a result, they will never be able to tell what exactly they want or they think or they feel. And the risk is, it's least risky, but then you lose your opportunity to grow. People who use passive communication, very often you will see them using very little eye contact. Their tone of voice will be very low. If you ask them a question, they will answer you, but in a very low tone, or they may not answer at all, or they may fumble, they may not speak up in classroom. So ultimately, as I said, your growth depends on your ability to communicate even when you are in a class. So of course, it is little risky because it's very safe. There's no risk involved in this, but then your personal growth is definitely affected by it. So some of the examples of passive communication, when you ask them something, they'll say, I don't know. Very short and simple answer, I don't know, so that there is no further discussion. Or they may say, it's okay, whatever you think, because they want to avoid discussion, they want to avoid their expression. They may even say you, I think you know it better, why don't you do it? So they may just give the rights to you to take decision. Or they may say, whatever group says, I'm okay with that. In the mind of their mind, they may say, I don't care and it doesn't matter to me. And also, when it is the need to ask for help, they will not ask for help. They will hesitate asking for help. They will not come out with their problems and challenges. And also, in case if they need to say no for something, they will not be even able to say no. That's the problem when you're using passive communication. Disadvantages, I think we have discussed at length. I'll not spend more time. In certain situations, passivity is okay, especially when the issues are minor. So I'm not saying that on every issue you should actually make it a point and give it an opinion. If issues are minor and if something simple is happening, it's okay to stay quiet. But in case if issues require you to speak up and you miss the chance, then you are losing your rights. When the results of pushing the issue would cause more problems than the benefits, even in that situation, passivity is okay. It's all right to be quiet. When there is a huge power differential, when you know you're speaking to somebody in authority and that person is agitated and aggressive, and at that moment, if you try to argue or give your point, it will not work. So maybe in that moment you become passive, but later on you come back and share your thoughts. But in that situation, passivity is okay. Also, when you're dealing with the person of person position, and especially something like whose position is impossible to change, so there again passivity is all right. Another way that we all use in handling disagreements or difficult situation is passive aggressive. So people who use passive aggressive style, as I said earlier also, they will not speak at the right moment, at right opportunity, but later on they'll try to manipulate and work out of vengeance. The goal of this style is to avoid conflict and then later on make the other person feel that I wish you had seen the way I could have contributed to it. आपने पूछा नहीं, आपने मुझे बताया नहीं, आपने मुझे involve नहीं करा, आपने मुझे include नहीं करा. These will be common, complaints they will come up with. They'll behave passively on face, but later on talk ill about people. You will often use them see them using sarcasm. So again, some of the examples you will see, they'll say, okay, don't worry, I'll do it. And then they'll say, oh, sorry, I forgot. I'll give it to you. And then they will not give you. Or they may say, oh, you are so good at it, you should do it. Actually, because they want to avoid the responsibility. They may even sarcastically say, oh, great idea, you are really good at it. Or they may say, when you ask them to do something, they will actually change the subject, but not take the responsibility. So again, we have talked about the disadvantages. The person who is using this style is unlikely to have good friends, is unlikely to form a relationship of trust and concern and care. People will not come to your help if this is the way you handle people in most of these situations. Then the third style we have discussed is active aggression, where people become aggressive on issues and would try to dominate the discussion and not let others share their thoughts or feelings. The idea behind such communication is to win at all costs and to be always right. So they come with an idea that I know it all and I'm the best one to tell you how to go about doing it. So you may be protecting your rights to speak or to share, but you are actually violating others' rights or disrespecting others' rights. As a result, sometimes you don't consider the consequences of an action. So you may act aggressive with your friend, but that friend will stop interacting with you or may stop, being your good friend. So sometimes, you actually face huge consequences of using aggressive communication. So people who use aggressive communication, you'll see their eye contact will be usually very angry and intimidating in this situation. They will never defer to others. They'll be very controlling, a lot of energy, which is usually negative, loud and belittling others. They won't mind shaming and humiliating and embarrassing others, and even coming out with others' personal information in open, in public, and talking ill about them. And also they will often use violence or verbal abuse in their communication. So some of the examples that you will see, they may say, I don't know why you can't understand. This is the best way to do it. Or they may say, what do you know about this place? For example, tomorrow you will be seniors. They will be, next batch of students coming after you. So there's a possibility when you say, you don't know about this place, I'm here for last 1 year, so I know more than you. So when you try to show your knowledge or power to others, something like, can't you see that this will not work? I don't care what you feel, just do what I say. So they may become rude, authoritative, intimidating to their friends, classmates, juniors especially. Again, a very unhelpful way of handling situations, because when you use active aggression, you think that this will help me in getting what I want, but you may win the situation but lose a friend, and actually that would impact your image also. If you're using this very often in your at home with your family or in your college with your friends and classmates and, your seniors, you're likely to lose, again, good relationship in your life. So people who are using this kind of style should remember that if you have this habit of attacking others, it's going to shut down all productive communications. You may win an argument, but you will lose a good relationship. So before you actually react, give yourself a minute and ask yourself, is there any other way I can say the same thing in a better manner? Because a lot of time your intentions are right, but your expression is inappropriate. So sometimes things like deep breathing or moving away physically from that situation or taking a glass of water will help you to calm down. And once you calm down, you will have a better way of handling a situation. So mindfully, you need to actually practice compromise where you understand that others also can be right from their perspective. So in certain situations, aggression is overlooked, especially when it is a situation of crisis. If you're aggressive, people may understand that there's no time for discussion or explanation or using assertive skill. So they may just overlook it. But otherwise, normally aggression is not a very healthy way of handling situation. The right way of communicating with anybody and everybody is assertion. So assertion, we normally think people are difficult, so therefore I have to either use aggression or passive aggressive style. But actually we don't know how to deal with people. That's where we turn to aggression or passive aggressive style or aggressive style. So the right communication style is assertive style, where you are able to express yourself. These 5 things keep in mind. Keep in mind these 5 things. When you're speaking openly, honestly, positively, confidently, and respectfully, this is assertion. So when you are asserting, you are looking after your needs, but you are also respecting others' needs. You are not, violating others' rights. So people who use assertive communication, they respect others' rights. The goal is to communicate with respect and also to understand others' point of view, to find a solution to the problem and thrive for win-win. So you're not trying to create a win-lose situation, but you're trying to see how can we create a situation where others also feel happy and good about what you're doing. So people who use assertive communication, you will see them actually making eye contact while they are interacting with you. They will look at you and talk to you to tell whatever they have to say. They'll present their wishes clearly and respectfully. They're confident and strong, yet flexible. And I did tell you the importance of the AQ, because agility is something that's going to help you grow in life immensely. Then these people would be objective and will not get overwhelmed, with emotions. They will listen and validate others. So to the extent that, for example, if you are interacting with your, say, batchmate, you come up with an idea and then you ask that person to share their thoughts. And then you realize, okay, the idea this friend of mine is giving is, I think, more useful. A person who is asserting will actually say, yes, I agree with you. I think what you're saying is better than what I'm saying, or that's a more useful idea. So assertion does not mean that we become adamant on the stand. Assertion gives us the comfort of being able to say our thoughts clearly. The other person may agree, may not agree, but it gives you a happiness that you expressed yourself in an honest manner. And in case if you find the other person's point of view more, valid in the situation, person who is asserting will not hesitate agreeing promptly and saying, okay, I think what you're saying makes more sense. Let's go by what you are saying. So it's not being adamant and, fixing on an idea. So some of the examples of assertive communication, you'll see these people often saying, I think it's important to me. I think it's important to you also. Let's sit and talk about it. Let's see how we can find, solution to the problem. Very often they will use words like, I think, I feel, I believe. So that means they are able to put across their thoughts, feelings, beliefs they own their thoughts in a very, clear manner. Even when they ask others to speak up or to share their thoughts, they will be respectful, inviting that I would appreciate if you share your thoughts. Excuse me. Yeah. And then if they have to say no, even their saying no will be very polite, firm, but respectful. So if they say, if you go to them for something, they may say, I'm working on something very urgent. Is it okay if I help you after I'm done with this? So that means they're not just saying, sorry, I can't do it. I'm busy. Instead of that, they're actually saying in the right manner. So in case if they have already done a lot, or they are tired, or they're busy, again, when they have to say no, they'll actually explain in the right manner. I've stayed late 3 times in this week. Can we take this tomorrow? So they've given a very valid reason for not taking this now. Assertive people have very clear communication. So if I may look at all 4 styles, people who use passive communication, they are emotionally dishonest because they are not honest to their own emotions. People who are using passive aggressive style, again, they are emotionally dishonest because they are not coming out with their honest emotions and thoughts. People who are aggressive, they are inappropriately honest. So you may be thinking, I'm very blunt, I'm very upfront, I am very clear in what I say. But if that's hurtful, if it's attacking, if it's blaming, if it's like hurting others, it's unhelpful. But the person who will assert will be appropriately honest, will put the thoughts clearly, but in less hurtful manner, in more clear and compassionate and considerate manner. So you will see people who, if we put all these styles on, 2 parameters, one is clarity of communication and second is consideration for others. So people who are assertive, they will actually have a lot of clarity in their communication, but at the same time, you will have consideration for others. So as I said yesterday also, in your class, you will have friends coming from different backgrounds. A lot of us are from humble background. Maybe the first time, college goers or school goers. Maybe we may have language issues. Some of us may not speak good English. Some of us may not be financially from a very good background. But people who are assertive will not be disrespectful, will not humiliate, will not embarrass, will include anybody and everybody, and will respect each one with great dignity. So in assertion, we speak, but we do not disrespect others. So people who are assertive, they'll always try to create a win-win kind of a situation. So definitely, when you are open in your communication and you are high in consideration, it's not only good for you, but it is helpful to others also, where people are able to speak honestly and openly with you because they feel they can talk to you in a very open manner. So a lot of us, move with the idea. This is a concept actually given by Eric Berne, and there's a beautiful book by him. He was a psychiatrist. He gave this book called Games People Play, and I Am Okay, You Are Okay. These are very 2 interesting books. If you can read, you'll get an idea into how we all work, in life, how we all behave in society. So normally in different situations, we have a different stand that we take. For example, when you are aggressive, you believe I am okay, you are not okay. When you are passive, you think I am not okay, you are okay because you are better than me. But when you are asserting, you move with the stand, I am okay, and I'm sure you are also okay from your part. So that's the approach we need to take when we are interacting with people. So to conclude here, I think 2 things, if you can see when you are communicating with people, are you able to honestly, openly say what you want to say? And are you considering others' rights? And when I talk about communication, 7 points, if you can bring in your communication, automatically your communication is going to be extremely, clear. So what exactly those 7 C's of effective communication are? First is clear. Be clear about what you want to say. Don't speak for the sake of speaking. Know what exactly you want to say. If you have clarity, you will know this is what is the intent of what I'm saying. Concise. Learn to put your thoughts and feelings in as little words as possible. So if you remember, yesterday I gave you the activity of introducing yourself. And I said just 30 seconds. If I had given you 1 minute, you could have spoken for 1 minute. If I had given you 5 minutes, you could have spoken for 5 minutes. But once I said just 30 seconds, and see how good you could write about yourself and present yourself. So learn to put your message in the least possible words so that you save time and energy, but you put across your ideas. So a lot of time when you listen to those taglines, see, in just one tagline, we are able to get the complete message. So that's the beauty of, keeping your message concise. Then your message should be concrete. So when you communicate, it should not be fuzzy. It should not be one here and one step here and one step there. Very clearly start from one point and move on to the second. And for that, you require practice. So when you are speaking, learn how to ask questions, learn how to express your thoughts. It's all right even to write down the key points and organize them and then speak. And then slowly you will learn how to, put your message in the right order. Also, make sure what you're saying is accurate. So your language, your numbers, your grammar, your expression has to be correct. Work on that. Then number 4 is coherent. A lot of time we speak, but that does not make much sense because we are not coherent, we are not well understood. So we have to make sure that my message is put in a manner that is logically understood. So even when you're writing messages in the chat box, sometimes the message is not clear. That means there's a better way of expressing the same thing. So we have to work on that. And of course, the message has to be complete. If the message is not complete, there's a risk the other person might fill in the gap, might do something that you think that you haven't said, but might, complete on its own. And then courteous. If your message is polite, friendly, professional, and open and courteous, people are going to listen to you. People are going to be appreciative of you. So these are the 5 C's of effective communication. Please work on all 7 and you will find them useful in making your communication better. Not 5, it is 7 C's of communication, sorry. So work on these communications and you'll find them, changing the way you are communicating with your classmates, with your teachers, and tomorrow with your patients. So this brings to the end of this topic. Any questions about communication style and your scores or understanding assertive communication? Is it making sense, what we are discussing? Is it making sense? I know this is something we have never discussed. This is something nobody ever sat and talked to us. So it may appear a little new, but then this is what is required in your day-to-day communication with your friends, with your teachers, with your family, and anybody and everybody. And your 85% success come from your communication and interpersonal skills. So this is very, very important to use this, start this from here, and then of course, when you pass out, you will definitely be a better communicator. So the next topic of discussion is professional grooming or personal grooming. So if I may ask you, why do we need to talk about this topic? Because professional grooming is something we normally don't think that we need to really, talk about. But is it relevant? Is it important? What do you say? जरूरत है इसकी? Any idea? जब हम किसी को मिलते हैं या देखते हैं, कितनी देर में पहला इंप्रेशन बन जाता है? In how much
30
time?
seconds.
30
seconds.
30 seconds. Okay. What about others? What do others say? Write in the chat box. What is your guess? In how much time is the first impression formed? Okay. Mhm. Mhm. 1 minute. What do others say? Ritesh says 1 to 5 seconds. Okay. 1 minute. 1 minute. Okay. Most of you are saying 1 minute. Within 1 minute. Okay. Mhm. Five to 10 seconds. 5 to 10 seconds. The moment we look at a person, we actually have an impression about that person. And you will immediately, have a feeling, I like or I don't like. And whatever information comes later on is seen through this lens. If I like, I will look for things that I like. If I don't like, I will look for things that I don't like, because first impression is already formed. Now, if I may show you a picture, give me a second to show you that picture. Whom does he look like?
Am I robber?
Delinquent.
Who could have believed? And if you had to get yourself treated by him, and if he came dressed up like this to see you or to treat you, will you be okay with it?
No, ma'am.
So although we don't pay much importance to our appearance and other aspects of grooming, but let me tell you, when you will, so for example, when you came to the college, you saw each other. After seeing each other, immediately there must be some thought, okay, I think iske साथ मेरी बन जाएगी, ये मेरे जैसा लगता है, she's not my type, है ना? So immediately we start judging people. And based on that, we decide whether we will interact with this person or not, whether we want to go to this person or not. So how important it is to form a good impression. So look at this grooming session from different aspects. One, you're here in the college, meeting everybody for the first time. So you need to have good impression on your classmates so that they feel like talking to you. They feel like being with you. They like your company. They're helpful to you. Second, you're interacting with your teachers. They don't know you. They have no idea about what kind of person you are. But if you're able to build a good impression on them, naturally, that will help you to build a good relationship with your teachers, which is so very important for your growth. Tomorrow, when you will be interacting with your patients. Now, if you go dressed up like this person in red dress to your patient, will your patient really respect you? Will they be willing to get yourself treated? A lot of time, I see residents wearing jeans and slippers and unkept hair and unshaven face and looking very untidy. So if you go like that in front of your patients, do you think your patients will respect you as a good doctor, as a responsible doctor? So see, one, forming good impression on your classmates, then with your teachers, and tomorrow with your patients. And also, we want to be attractive, we want to be impressive, we want to be liked by people. In general, we want to have a good social image. So professional grooming is something that we should understand not as a liability, but as an asset. So it's very important to understand, it's very essential to form a good first impression. And as I said, the first impression is formed within 5 to 10 seconds. Your patients, the moment they'll meet you, they'll immediately have an impression of yours. He's a good doctor. She's a fine doctor. He's not a good doctor, not a good, So that means it's very important to form a good impression. And let me tell you, dressing plays a very big role to start with. That's one aspect, of course. Then, of course, good impressions make the future interactions easy. So among your friends, if you had good impression on each other, it actually helped to build a long-term relationship with your friends. And similarly, it will happen with your teachers and with your patients tomorrow. So it will help you earn respect and credibility and build rapport with people, especially with whom you need to get into personal and professional relationship. Whereas actually the first impressions are everlasting and not easy to change. Any idea how many attempts you need to make if you want to change the impression? Any idea?
I'm in thousands.
It's almost like 15 to 20 attempts to change the impression. So for example, if you're late for class, and if you are late for class for 2-3 times, so teacher is likely to have the impression that, okay, this student is not very punctual. If you want to change teacher's opinion, you'll have to really work very hard to create this impression. I came late for this reason, but I'm a very responsible student. If you don't submit your assignments on time, if you don't do your preparation properly, if you are not coming for the class well dressed up, so teacher might have a feeling that you're not a very careful or a caring, student. So it'll take a lot of time for you to change your impression, because it's not easy to change. And a lot of time you will not get a second chance to change the impression. So therefore, forming a good impression is very important. So if I may ask you, what all comes into, professional grooming? Write in the chat box. What all comes in professional grooming, or what all helps in forming a good first impression? Write in the chat box. सबसे पहले हम किसी को देखते हैं तो किस चीज पे ध्यान जाता है हमारा? Okay, dressing, shoes, eye contact, way of talking. Yes, Soumya, you're right. Shoes, yes. Haircut, yes, Shivam, I agree with you. और क्या क्या आएगा? अगर किसी के ऊपर अच्छा इंप्रेशन देना है, if you are looking for, personal and professional grooming, तो क्या क्या चीजों का ध्यान दोगे? Haircut हो गया, shoes हो गए, expression on face, very right. Body language, yes, very right. Face expression, okay. Clean and well-kept clothes and shoes, body language. Yes, Shishram, I agree with you. Facial expressions, yes, I agree. Okay, that was Yasa who wrote this. Okay, fine. So, broadly, you have covered everything. Couple of more things to add to your list. One is, of course, dressing, as you said very rightly. It's gone wrong. Why is it not moving? Okay. Personal hygiene, which probably you did not thought of. Body language you have covered. Communication we have covered broadly. Etiquettes, social etiquettes. So for example, if I may talk about grooming, let me tell you, you are what you wear. And the moment you come into somebody's vision, people actually make the following decisions about you in the wink of an eye. And they are able to kind of think of your economic level, education level, trustworthiness, maturity, level of experience, moral character, and your success. And I'm sure based on this, you must have even judged each other when you met for the first time, the way the person has dressed up. So it's very important to remember that I have to wear appropriately for an occasion. For example, these two cute looking boys, they're looking very smart. If they go as doctors to their patients, do you think the patients will be happy to be treated by them? Because they are not looking appropriately dressed up. So a lot of time when I see residents wearing jeans and slippers and tight clothes and uncomfortable clothes and coming to the wards and departments, we have to remember that patients and public are observing us, the way we are dressed up or the way we conduct ourselves. So it's very important to make sure that we are dressed in a manner to actually impress people around us. And 3 questions that you need to ask yourself when you are dressing. First question is, does this clothing fit me properly? Clothes that are too tight, too loose, or too short are inappropriate for that occasion. Second question you need to ask is, does this article of clothes or pair of shoes or handbag look worn out or outdated? A lot of time we have a nice t-shirt or trousers or pair of bag or shoes, and we think it's very smart, but they're actually worn out or torn or damaged, but we wear it. Again, you really need to check that. And third, am I dressed appropriately for my position and responsibility? So in your personal life, what you're wearing, that's your choice. It's perfectly all right. You're all young. But when you're going to college and when you're going to meet your patients tomorrow, you really need to dress up in a manner that your patients feel like respecting you, trusting you. And that is where the role of grooming comes in. It's very important to make yourself look neat and professional. So whenever you're going for your class or tomorrow when you're going to meet your patient, you need to make sure that you are dressed up appropriately. So I believe what I've understood from your previous batches that you all are expected to wear shirts and formal trousers and shoes in college, which is perfectly all right. I think that's appropriate. But to make sure that your clothes are well ironed, clean, no loose ends, it's not faded, it's not torn, it's not looking dirty, it's not smelling bad, is something that you have to take care of. And tomorrow, in case if you are allowed to wear jeans or t-shirts, not here, but anywhere else, you got to make sure that it has to be, first of all, avoided because that is not professional. But even if you are wearing, it has to be, it shouldn't look very, unprofessional or casual in your dressing. So jeans, I think not even in your personal life, I would advise wearing tight jeans or loose jeans and, shabby jeans because they don't give a good impression on others. Shoes, I believe here you are asked to wear formal shoes, which is all right. But in case tomorrow, like if here or anywhere, if you wear comfortable shoes matching with your trousers and subtle color shoes are advisable. Make sure that the color of the shoes and socks go well with your trousers. A lot of time I see colored socks, printed socks. Of course, now youngsters are wearing, I see them wearing. Again, at workplace, in college, in hostel, in hospital, it's advisable to wear sober color. But in your personal life, I think that's very different. Okay. Flip-flops and slippers, as I said earlier, also not a good idea to wear in college. So formal shoes with the laces, preferably matte finish. This glaze finish and then metal tape fancy shoes are not a very good idea to be worn. Dress code for girls, I believe for all of you, it is kurti and either trousers or leggings, which is again with the idea to, make you feel comfortable and well covered and easy to, move around, which is a good idea. Making sure that your shoes are also comfortable, because you're going to be standing for long hours and walking around a lot. So your shoes should be comfortable. It can be shoes or it can be sandal like this. Hairstyle, I think it should be well groomed and well kept at all time, especially people who have, long hair. Don't leave it loose. Why I'm saying, because to start your day, it will look very neat and well kept. But after a few hours, your hair may go haywire. So either have a pony or have a bun made so that your hair are well kept. Hair holding device should be plain and of natural color. I know you are not doing that, but this is just a reminder kind of a thing that we have to keep this in mind. So in terms of accessories and makeup, less is more. So it's better to keep minimum jewelry, minimum makeup when you're going for this thing. Personal hygiene. Again, a lot of us look after it, but many of us sometimes don't realize if you don't take bath, you smell. People can make out, especially when it is very hot, when it is summer, when you're sweating, people can actually make out that you're not, you haven't had bath. So overall cleanliness right from head to toe is important. Taking bath on daily basis, brushing your teeth twice a day, rinsing mouth after every meal, use of mouthwash, keep a mouth freshener in your bag always, because during the day, sometimes you'll not get time to go back to hostel and, brush and all. So at least mouth freshener. Nails, very important. So a lot of time we have small, grown nails and we think, okay, I'll trim them, I'll trim them. But then, especially if you are eating food with hand, there's a risk of infection. Plus, it looks very unhygienic. So I think one thing that we have to, remember, keep a schedule. Maybe once a week, every Sunday, I'm going to clip my nails short. So if you keep that as a schedule, you'll always remember, okay, every Sunday I have to, clip my nails. This is important. Moisturizing your skin from head to toe on regular basis, especially when it is winters. It's very important to look after your skin by applying moisturizer for boys also, not just girls. So having, ankles like this, or it's not a good idea. So keep your skin clean and moisturized so that you look good. I know piercing and tattooing is not common among medical students, but I think we have to remember that it's something that we really need to avoid. Washing your head, taking head bath at least thrice a week is very important, at least for girls twice a week after every 3 days, because hair become oily and dirty. So they become, it's visible when we have not had bath for a number of days. So your hair are your crowning glory. So make sure that you maintain your hair very well. Boys, especially, if your hair are longer than they're touching your forehead, elbow, your ear or back of the collar, not a good idea. Keep them short. You look smart when you keep them short. So spikes and funky hairstyle, I know you don't do it, but just a reminder, it's always good to have short haircut and it looks good. Beard, I see, is common. Boys are fond of this. But if you want to keep beard, I don't know your college policy. They should be able to tell you. But in case if you are keeping it, it has to be very well trimmed. But personally, I advise in a professional setup, it is always good to have a clean shaven. You look more professional in your interaction rather than having a beard. And it is really, really, kept very well. Gel your hair regularly, oil your hair regularly in case, especially you have, frizzy hair. It's always a good idea. Chest hair, again, not a good idea. Now it's discouraged. One for, perspiration, smell, and then also to look at it doesn't look, aesthetic. Axillary hair also harbor bacteria and, smell. So regularly use deodorant and, clean keep your armpits clean. Yeah. So the whole idea is that, your overall appearance is evaluated on the basis of how you're looking, to the extent that people even, look at your appearance and decide how intelligent or smart or professional you are. So I think that's very important to remember that this is something that we really need to pay importance and attention to. So it's very important to look smart, neat, confident, professional, reliable, because people think if you're smartly dressed up, you are reliable, you are approachable. That was about your dressing. Now coming to the body language part. 93% of the communication is non-verbal. And out of that, 55% of the communication is through your body language. So it's very important to know what is the right body language. When you are interacting with people, I think one thing that we have to always remember, making an eye contact with the person. And then having a smiling face. That's something I think that has to be learned, because a lot of time we keep a poker-like face and we think that's the face we are supposed to be keeping. I'm going to show you a picture to help you understand why we need to have a smiling face. But much before you actually start speaking, these things have already communicated who you are, what kind of a person you are, how well behaved you are. So for example, if I talk about eye contact, making eye contact is very important with the person with whom you are interacting. So socially acceptable timings are, look at the person for 2 to 3 seconds and shift your focus. घूरना नहीं है किसी को, और सिर से पैर तक तो बिल्कुल नहीं देखना. It makes the other person uncomfortable. In a professional setup, it's always good to look at the eyes and above the eye. In personal relationship, you can look at the eyes and below the eyes. So in professional setup, avoid looking at the person's nose or lips. It's always good to look at the eyes and above the eyes. That's the better way of, interacting in a professional setup. Waiting for somebody else to say hello can miss an opportunity to showcase your etiquettes. Always greet promptly. If you remember, yesterday when we met, I had to actually wait for you to say good morning. I said good morning and I had to wait for almost like good 10-15 seconds for you to say good morning. Do away with that practice. In your classroom, whenever you're meeting new teacher, new faculty, new members, promptly go up to them and say hello. That will help you form a good relationship with them. Having a smile, I think, is very, very important. So if I may show you this picture and ask you, what are our facial expressions most of the times when we are interacting with people for the first time, and even with patients also? Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Which one? Write in the chat box. Write in the chat box your facial expressions. That's ideal. Did you show me this expression yesterday? Did you show me this expression yesterday? Did you show me number 1? That is ideal. What you're saying is right. But what were your expressions? Number? When we met yesterday, yes, number 5. Number 5. And what do these expressions tell? When you keep these expressions, number 5, we are attending a class or you're meeting your patients, then you keep these expressions. What do these expressions tell? Write in the chat box. Sanjeev, about our interest in them, not interested. Number 5 says, I'm not interested. And if this is the expression you will give to your teacher, will that help you to form a good learning environment?
No, ma'am.
Absolutely. And if this is the expression you're showing to your patient tomorrow, will your patient have this feeling that this doctor is really wanting to treat me?
No, ma'am.
Would you like to receive this kind of expression from your friends and your patients?
No, ma'am, never.
What do others say?
No, ma'am.
You know, a lot of time teachers would lose their interest if you keep this facial expression. See, I told you yesterday also that I have been into teaching for a good 30 years. For me, face number 5 is a very regular face to start with. I know I can change it to number 1 in a while. But a lot of teachers will be new. And if you give this facial expression, they'll feel lack of confidence. They may lose interest. They may find it very rude. They may feel bad about it. So please be mindful of your facial expressions. Number 1 is a good one. Give what you like to receive. If I had taught you all in all these 2 days, keeping this number 5 expression, would you have liked me as a teacher? Yes or no? No. Absolutely no. So it's very important to have a genuine smile, humbleness, welcoming attitude, even in the classroom with your teachers, tomorrow with your patients, because this is what is going to earn you others' confidence, that you are welcoming, you are wanting to connect, you are willing to, interact. And then when somebody is coming to you or trying to talk to you, it's always good to get up and turn towards the person. Facial expression should be to smile, make eye contact to communicate that, yes, I'm listening to you, I'm wanting to interact with you. And when you shake hands, it has to be a firm and warm shake hand. And how do we do it? The most widely accepted way of coming, first contact is shake hand. So it's good to learn the right way of shaking hand. It should be firm, but not bone crushing. And the palm should neither be facing down or facing upward. So when it is facing upward, you are indicating that you are considering the other person to be more than you. If you keep your palm up, that shows that I'm trying to control you. So the good way is it should be neither facing upward or not downward. And while making eye contact, while shaking hand, make eye contact to communicate that, yes, I am, connecting with you. As I said earlier also, 55% of the communication happens through body language. So the way you stand, the way you sit, the way you interact in the classroom, that communicates your seriousness, your interest, your willingness to, participate in the classroom activities. So make sure that your body language nowhere communicates disinterest or disregard to your teachers or to your friends. So body language has to be, positive. It's visible if it is positive or aggressive, cool and calm, nervous or scared, active, passive, dull, all this is visible. So you have to really mindfully choose what body language you want to depict to others. So if you look into this picture, and if you look at this girl with the check shirt, what do you think, it looks like?
Ma'am, she is forcibly made to stand there.
lag raha hai disinterested hai na?
Yes.
You can make it. Today, why aren't others responding? Mohit, Saurav, Ramya, I don't see anybody else responding. Why? Anu, Shivya, Imanshi, where are you all? I want everybody to speak up and participate. Yeah, she looks unhappy. Yes, absolutely. It looks like she's been asked to stand there. And what about these two boys on the extreme left and extreme right? They have their hands in their pocket. So what does that look like? I don't care kind of a thing. Okay, in this picture, there are two postures, posture A and B, which is okay. A or B? Anu, what do you say? Is it A or B, which is okay? Okay, most of you are saying B, okay. Very honestly, both are not okay. In B, the person appears very closed. In A, the person appears very casual. So leaning forward slightly reflects interest and seriousness. Leaning backward shows disinterest. So if you're leaning forward like this, even this is incorrect. The right posture is this. So indicating that, yes, I'm interested, I'm listening to you. Personal space, very important. I think it's important to remember that there is a bubble around all of us, and we want that bubble to be respected. So don't go closer to the person beyond 2 feet. So safe distance in a professional or a personal setup is 2.5 feet distance. But tomorrow, there will be chances when you will be examining your patient, especially when you're doing fundus examination, ear examination, oral examination, you will go closer. But there, it's important to signpost, inform the patient. I need to do this and I'm going to go closer so that the patient gets mentally ready for this. Otherwise, a lot of time, we just start examining and the patient may become uncomfortable. Between friends, with teachers, with your college staff, maintain 2.5 feet distance when you are interacting with them. That actually shows that you respect their space. So what we have discussed till now about the softening techniques, I think these are the things as a carry-home message. Establish eye contact, smile when somebody is, trying to interact with you, greet softly, promptly, so that shows that you are following the code of conduct. When the other person is talking, listen attentively, nod whenever appropriate. A lot of time you don't give any expression. Do you see that? Even you may be agreeing in your heart, or maybe you're very attentively listening. But when you don't nod, the other person does not know whether you are understanding, you are agreeing, you are liking, or you're disagreeing or not liking. So it is very important to communicate that, yes, I'm listening to you. And nodding is one of the ways, even if you don't want to verbally respond, it's important to nod and say that I'm listening to you. Have an open posture when you are interacting with people, lean forward and respect others' personal space. So that's about the body language part. Now coming to the language part. It's very important to remember that your language with your friends, with your seniors, with everyone, it should be respectful and decent. Don't use aap, don't use tu, tum for your, tomorrow you'll have your juniors with you. Don't use that way of addressing them. Or there may be staff, who are like cleaning staff or support staff. There again, we can't use this word. So it has to be a respectful way of, talking to others. Hindi or English, it doesn't make a difference. I think that's what is more important for me to tell you, because a lot of time when we are not, good in spoken English, we stop interacting. Don't do that. More important than anything else is your ability to communicate. So speak. If you know the answer, speak in Hindi, doesn't make a difference. But make sure that you work on your English. See, English is an international language. You will need it tomorrow for various opportunities and platforms. For example, tomorrow you may go to, participate in conferences, in meetings, present your paper, present your, whatever, your poster presentation or whatever. So yes, you require good English. There's no doubt about it. Don't hesitate taking a serious 6-month program in English in case language is a challenge with you. Don't think I will automatically will become good, at English by the end of 5 years. No. Rather, if you're not able to speak good English, a lot of time you will hesitate. You will shy from speaking. You will feel embarrassed to, answer because you fear that my English is not good, my grammar is not good, my vocabulary is not good. So you will not speak up. So work on both the things till you actually learn English. Don't hesitate speaking Hindi, but you must speak, because communication is very important. But at the same time, if you think your English is not good, take 6 months program. So many programs are available. YouTube programs are available. I think a lot of free programs are also available online. Work on your, English. Make sure that you are able to, excel in this language. Then of course, you need to really understand how the others also, you speak. It's very important. And another thing very important is in group. Sometimes we have a senior or a teacher or a junior from my own native place. So you feel like speaking your mother tongue with them. If you are alone with that person, it's okay. If you are Gujarati and the person with whom you are interacting is also Gujarati and you speak Gujarati, it's okay. But in case if you are more than two people and there's a third person who does not speak your native language, please do not speak in your native language. It's always good to speak common language that everybody can understand. A lot of time what happens, we think, oh, that makes our conversation easy, but the third person feels uncomfortable. So it's very important to remember to respect the other person. We have to avoid speaking the language that the other person cannot actually understand. Voice plays again a very big role in making an impression. The moment you start speaking, people can judge you from the quality of your voice, the sound, the tone, loudness. So the voice quality has to be, audible, neither too low nor very high, but at the same time should be pleasing to the ear. So make sure that your voice quality is, is pleasant. Building your vocabulary, very important, because in professional setup, we really need to know the basic etiquettes, the good language. Even if you start adding one word every day to your vocabulary, any word that you come across that you don't know, find a meaning, know that word and see how you can add that to your vocabulary. That will really, really help you in making your language skills better. Use of positive phrases like thank you, you're welcome, I'm sorry, have a good day. They all help you make a good impression on others. Use these phrases as often as you can. Even with your family, friends, classmates, teachers, it's important to use, these phrases. Tone of voice. So I'm showing you one slide. The same sentence has been written 6 times. Put little emphasis on the word that is highlighted and read the sentence. Every time the meaning will be very different. Can you sense that? And therefore, it's very important to remember to use the right tone of voice. Roko mat, jane do. Roko mat jane do. How the meaning completely gets changed when you don't use the right tone of voice. 38% of the communication happens through the tone of voice. So make sure that your tone of voice is appropriate. So whenever somebody is asking you something, and if your tone of voice is casual, or it appears disinterested or inconfident, rude and authoritative or aggressive, that's not appropriate. Appropriate tone of voice is when you're interacting with your teachers or with your classmates in a sincere manner. You sound friendly, confident, soft and polite and assertive. That's going to help you to have good, communication with people around. Last few slides quickly. This is important and interesting. A lot of it you may be already practicing, but again, it's important to remember that do we follow these etiquettes carefully? For example, in public, it's not a good idea to burp or make any bodily noises. Then do not pick your teeth, face, nose in public. Again, not a good idea. In case if you need to clean yourself, go to the washroom and clean yourself. Chewing gums, again, a very important thing. A lot of time we feel that, okay, I need to have some mouth freshener, and we like to take chewing gum as a mouth freshener. Maybe initially for a couple of seconds, it's okay. But then when you are keeping it in your mouth and you're sitting in the class and you're chewing your, chewing gum, it reflects bad on you. Teacher feels, that you are not following the decorum of the class. So chewing gum is not a very good idea to be used as a mouth freshener. We all have allergies sometimes, cough, cold, sneezing. It's good to have a tissue paper always with you. Having a hanky is not a good idea because then you'll be cleaning yourself and putting the hanky in your pocket and reusing that. So it's better to use tissue. And in case if you really need to, clean yourself, again, go to the washroom and, clean yourself. The moment we see mirror, sometimes, we start, dressing our hair or seeing, am I looking good? In case if you really need to do that, go to the restroom rather than doing it in public. Some of the basic manners, for example, if you're using perfume or cologne, it shouldn't be very strong. Or during day timings, don't eat any smelly food, because if you're eating something like onion or radish or fish, it's going to smell bad. And when you talk to people feel uncomfortable. And people can make out that this is what you have taken. Standing in front of somebody's cubicle or table and carrying on conversation is not a good idea. We have to respect others' place. And even when you're entering anybody's room, knock the door before entering anybody's room. And do not walk into the other person's room, especially when someone is at phone. Rather, it's better to leave them a note and go rather than standing on their head. Some of the conversational skills or topics that we have to keep in mind. Avoid discussion on topics like politics, religion, finances, and tasteless jokes. Not a good idea. Safe topic to discuss with friends and in public place with people is sports, cultural events, food, local attractions, books, movies, vacation ideas. That they're safe to talk about. Toilet manners, I think, very important. So I know all of you are, staying in hostel and you have shared toilet. So it's very important to remember when you're using shared toilet, we have to use it with care and responsibility. Don't soil the toilet seat. Make sure to leave it clean and dry after you use. Wash your hands with soap and water after using, and don't forget to dry your hands before leaving the toilet. Very often we leave the tap, even if it's slightly leaking, leave it as it is, and we forget to switch off light. We think it's not my property, but we have to remember it's national property, and we are supposed to make sure that we don't waste these things. So anywhere you see water wastage, electricity wastage, take prompt action and switch it off and close the tap rather than letting it go like this. Table manners, I think, very important, especially you all are eating together in the hostel mess. So make sure that you wash your hands before and after eating food. Don't make noises while eating. Keep your mouth closed while eating. A lot of us, have this habit of talking when we are eating. Not a good idea. And taking a small bite is better than taking a big bite, because then others can see what is in your mouth. Don't talk while eating. Avoid smelly food at workplace, because again, it makes others uncomfortable. Use spoon as much as possible. And don't use both the hands while eating food, because your left hand should be kept clean and dry to serve or to handle other things. And don't overeat and burp at the end. It doesn't look good. Always have a tissue paper or a napkin while eating, so that in case if something spills, you can clean it. And don't spoil your clothes and table while eating. In case something falls on the table, make sure to clean the table before you leave. The whole thing is that social interactions have some, rules of the game. They're called etiquettes. If you would follow it, automatically you will have a good impression on your friends, on your teachers, and later on in your professional life. One golden rule that I can recommend to all of you is don't give the behavior that you don't like to receive. I think if you will remember this, you'll always be nice and kind and well-behaved with people. So this is a little bit about professional grooming. Questions now.
Ma'am, is it practically appropriate to say up to juniors?
To say up to juniors. संजीव, आज के टाइम में अगर पेरेंट्स बच्चों के साथ तू करके बात करते हैं ना,
Yes,
तो
ma'am.
बच्चे कह देते हैं कि मम्मी आप तू करके क्यों बोल रहे हो,
Yes, ma'am.
है ना? तो अगर जूनियर्स के साथ आप देखो, बहुत किसी के साथ दोस्ती हो जाती है तब आप तू बोलते हो, you don't mind because you know you have come so close to each other, because with close friends we use तू, है ना?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
लेकिन जनरली अगर आप तू करके बोलते हो, it is taken as disrespect and being uncourteous. I think in general we should use up unless you have become very close to the person where you can use tu and tu.
Yes, ma'am. And ma'am, is wearing t-shirt in the hostel rooms also inappropriate?
No, as long as t-shirts are neat, clean, and they are not very tight, very loose, it's all right. I think in hostel you are allowed. I'm not sure of the protocol you have been, shared about dress code, but I think in hostel it should be allowed. I think it must be allowed.
Yes.
But you can still check with your authorities.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes. What about spectacles? Nobody asked me for spectacles. I didn't cover that. So again, those of you who are using spectacles, make sure your spectacles are in good condition. But I know nowadays the trend is to wear oversized spectacle. The whole idea is if you are wearing a very oversized spectacle, the weight of the glass will automatically be more if you are wearing a big size spectacle. So every time you are wearing a big size frame, the frame will actually fall on the middle of your nose. And you'll have to literally lift your frame by touching the rim or the side of this thing. Plus, the center of the glass should actually meet the center of your eye, pupil. If you're wearing a very big size frame and if it falls down, then you are not seeing through the center of the glass. The power is different in the different distance. It's always advisable to wear a well-fitted frame, and it should be, it shouldn't be slipping down. It shouldn't be loose and falling down. That you have to take care. Any other question? I know a lot of it you may be already practicing, but it's more like kind of validation of what you're already doing. And in case if you're missing on some points, this will help you to make yourself better. So if there are no questions, we close it here. Put your feedback and your takeaway in the WhatsApp group. But let me quickly ask, Dr. Uditi, are you there? Dr. Uditi, if you're there, if you would like to check with Dr. Shakti Gupta, if you would like to speak to the students.
Hello.
Yes, Ji.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. It's a wonderful session, actually.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
So we were watching this actually with me. Our very senior journalist is sitting with us, Mr. Harbans Nigokeji. I think he has an experience of about 35 to 40 years. And he was so excited to see this program. Then I see this type of program I'm seeing in my life for the first time in AIIMS Jammu. So he was appreciating the content. He was watching the presentation and other things. Actually, he's still there. Maybe actually I'll ask him. He will, as an independent observer, he can give a comment.
Thank you so much. That will be really nice.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is a really thrilling day and a very memorable day for me. in the presence of Honorable Dr. Shakti Gupta. ये शक्ति है और हमें बहुत शक्ति की प्रेरणा देते हैं. सर से इनका आशीर्वाद मुझे लास्ट अब 35 मिलता रहा when he came once attending medical college in the function I got a I was really watching for the last couple of weeks. Some more staff was there. It was really wonderful. I was just sharing with Honorable Dr. Shakti Gupta sir. ये एनडीए में या तो होता था, सैनिक स्कूल में मैंने कभी नहीं देखा, और इन शॉर्ट विजन कोर्स देहरादून वगैरह में होता है. ऑल हमारे जो दूसरा भगवान कहे जाने वाले डॉक्टर बनने वाले सारे हैं अंडर ए ग्रेट कमांड ऑफ यू एंड डॉक्टर शक्ति गुप्ता सर. इट्स रियली मार्वलस. और ये जीवन में आपने सब कुछ बताया. आई एम रियली थ्रिल्ड एंड आई हैव बिकम मोर यंग टू फॉलो योर हाउ टू मेक ड्रेस एवरीथिंग. थैंक्स अ लॉट टू एवरीबॉडी. गॉड ब्लेस. यू आर ऑल लकी. थैंक यू वेरी मच to you and Honorable Dr. Shakti Gupta. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
It was really, it was
Thank you,
good
sir.
actually.
Thank you.
I was watching very keenly actually to see the things actually, and so we'll repeat maybe after 6 months or so how much our students are following it actually. So it will be ongoing. This is not only one-time program. We keep on having program after every 6 months or 1 year as per the advice of Dr. Indu. I'm sure our MBBS students, they must have done a lot in the last 3 sessions. And then actually, when you join back after the vacation, so I'm going to interact with you and talk to you about these sessions and your feedback and how we can carry this program forward. So good luck and have a wonderful vacations. And thank you, Indu Active, for your time. In spite of being you in the US and a busy schedule, you have to get up at I think 3:34 in the morning, as per US time, and giving a lecture for 2 hours non-stop. I must appreciate your commitment, your sincerity, your devotion for this program. So thank you so much.
Sir. Thank you so much, sir, for organizing this program. I think these students should know that I think this is your vision that has actually made this happen. I don't think in our country anywhere this is happening for the MBBS students. So you should be really thankful to your director, sir. Definitely. Thank you. Ramdev, do you want to say something?
जी मैम.
Ji, go ahead. Yeah.
जी मैम, मैं बहुत गर्वान्वित महसूस कर रहा हूँ कि हमने एम्स जम्मू में एडमिशन लिया और आपसे स्किल डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम में हिस्सा लिया. तो मुझे उम्मीद है कि आप जल्दी हमसे ऑफलाइन भी मीटिंग करोगे और हमें और लेक्चर्स दोगे.
Sure. Thank you, Ramdev. Thank you. So thank you so much, everyone. I think you all have been wonderful audience. I had a wonderful time interacting with all of you. So I'm coming back to India in July, in the 2nd week of July. So hopefully I should be able to see you very soon.
Yes, Indu, actually, I was just discussing with the Uditi that when you come back to India, we'll formally and officially invite you to visit Jammu and have an interaction with everybody.
Sure,
so
sir,
that
sure.
you can see them 1:1, and we can also get a feedback how best we can further modify as per their requirements. Actually, I want
Sure.
my AIIMS student to be look different in wherever they go. Actually, the identity should be there from AIIMS Jammu. So that type of thing I'm looking for actually.
Wonderful.
So I'm sure actually our students they will excel in all the areas, including their personality, their teaching, academics, and sports also. So they have been provided few sports activities also. And of course, I have committed them that we'll take them to Pathinta for a picnic. That is one of the beautiful hill station actually. Once they come back from their vacations. So then they can have actually, so maybe in 2 batches or 1 batch, we'll find out the way actually. Okay, thank you once again to all and have a wonderful vacations.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining and sparing your valuable time to be with all of us. Thank you. So thank you, students, to all of you for being such a wonderful audience. I see a sea change on your expressions, at least. That smile that I can see, the connect I can see, that gives me a lot of satisfaction that we are on the right track. So put your feedback and takeaway in the group and then see you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.